Hi, I'm Karen Kearns here, Entrepreneur in Residence for the Innovation Fellows Program. And today we are going to be interviewing some of our Gold Fellows, those fellows who are over 540 hours earned in our Innovation Fellows programming. And among the first students who started our program was Owen Klein. Owen, I met through the Ag Entrepreneurship Initiatives Changemaker Academy. And we connected in, Owen, how long has it been?
And that would have been early last spring.
Yeah.
Right before the shutdown.
Right. So I think sometime in February, we began talking about Owen's business and where Owen was going. And Owen was one of our first enrollees in the program. In fact, Owen, you were probably our first innovation fellow.
I probably already did have the 540 hours before I even started the program.
That's true. So let's start a little bit with, first of all, who are you? What is your biggest accomplishment? And what brought you to the Innovation Fellows?
Well, I'm Owen Klein. I'm from Brooklyn, Iowa, a small town, basically dead center between Des Moines, Iowa City. I'm currently a senior here at Iowa State University, majoring in industrial technology, graduating this spring. And biggest accomplishment, I'll say it probably has been starting this business and growing it and seeing it blossom.
Yeah. And tell us a little bit about your business, Owen.
My business, Klein Design Creations, makes and sells CNC plasma cut metal signs.
So your business, so I met you about a year ago, February, and we began talking about your business. And it started off with you telling me a personal story about what started your innovator journey. And that was about an event that started in high school, or I think maybe earlier than that, that's kind of launched your story.
Basically early junior high.
Yeah. And started you on a path about defining your story. Can you share a little bit about that?
So back I was a little 7th grade Owen. I was a weird kid that was a distance runner, and third day of junior high track practice, very excited, trying to run with the older kids and run faster and push myself. Third day of practice, we were coming around the track and I got a headache. I never get headaches. I still don't get headaches. I got basically the worst headache of my life. I came around the corner. I knew it was really weird that I was having a headache, so I went up and asked my coach. I don't even remember what I said. It was just something because I knew it was wrong. I knew it was very wrong. And then basically I don't remember anything for the next 2 months. It turns out I had an arterial venous malformation, an AVM, basically equivalent to having a stroke. When I was born with a knot of veins and arteries in my head. Basically a big artery and a little vein went into a little vein, and it creates a giant pressure difference. It's just basically a ticking time bomb in your head. When it bursts, it basically like having a stroke. It spilled a bunch of blood into your brain.
Yeah.
Reason blood doesn't interact with the brain.
And I remember you telling me, I said, how did you get over that? And do you remember what you told me?
What I told Karen, what she really loves is like the defining thing I got from that is that this wasn't going to be my story. This will not change who I am. This will not affect me in the future. I will do everything I need to and can to overcome this.
Yeah. And you proceeded to do that, Owen. You took a $5,000 a year business and made it this past year. The final figures are what?
155,000.
Right.
2020.
Yeah. And that is just a huge accomplishment. We're very proud of you. Can you share what have been some of the benefits and of your Innovation Fellows journey?
The thing I enjoy about the Innovation Fellows is the accountability. Talking to you every week. You always have a goal for me. Try to have a goal for me to accomplish something every week. And knowing I have to have a meeting with you every week, having the accountability of coming back and following through on what I said I was going to do. You have me speak into the world what I want to have done, and then you hold me accountable for what I say.
That's really fabulous. Owen, I really appreciate that. And as you go off into the future and you think about it, one of the things we talked about is what would you imagine your future journey with the Innovation Fellows will be?
So yeah, I would love to come back and still interact with the Innovation Fellows and help teach and guide new fellows and have a part to play in the future of innovation at Iowa State.
And you are more than welcome, and we will definitely continue. And Owen, again, you are the first fellow that we had, and I'm very proud of what you've accomplished. Thank you. Hi, today I'm here to speak with Priyanka Krishnan. And Pri is one of our stellar innovation fellows and also has been a SciStarter at our university. I would say of all the students that I have met, she has taken more advantage of our university innovation and entrepreneurship programs than anyone I know. So she is truly an innovator, resourcing everything and anything. And we are really proud of how she has distinguished herself, particularly she's given back in service. She has done programs with admissions. She helps me, she helps the other fellows. She works in a business. So she's a great example of innovation here at Iowa State. Pri, can you share a little bit more about yourself? Particularly, congratulations on being a Gold Fellow. You have well over 800 hours, do you not?
Thank you, Karen, for sharing that wonderful introduction about me. Hi, everyone. My name is Priyanka Krishnan, and most of you know me by Pri. So I came here to Iowa State as an undergrad, and it's been about 7 years. I've been a long-time child of Iowa State University, and I have grown to becoming a wonderful designer and an accidental entrepreneur. So I started as a student in bachelor's in industrial design, and I have a master's in industrial design, and I'm currently doing a double major PhD in educational technology and human computer interaction. And as Karen mentioned, I've worked with almost all departments of Iowa State University.
And Pri, can you share a little bit more about your engagement with the Innovation Fellows program, what brought you to that, and what benefit you're getting out of that?
Of course. So I think the side of entrepreneurship was fed to me by Anna Luz. She's my mentor, my second mom, and she's the most wonderful person I could have ever met. She's the one who sparked all kinds of interest inside me, and she said, "It's okay if you're an unfinisher, just start things." And so I started with the entrepreneurship with my project Cards for Women. And I got into the SciStarters program here at Iowa State University. And that's right after which, and I was like, oh, okay, now I'm not going to do Cards for Women anymore, but I'm going to do something else. That's when I met Karen, of course. And Karen's the most wonderful person I've met in the world, who's full of connections. And she really drove my interest into what innovation is all about. And I've been working with them for about almost, I would say, 2 semesters now. And I've made a lot of connections. I think that's the most I say I would have got out of the innovation programming is I was able to make, networking was everything. And I got to meet new people, I got to learn new things, and I got to understand how do you approach a mentor, and what do you ask from them, and how do you make sure that your objectives are met, and how do you take that forward, and what is the most you can get out of being a student at Iowa State?
Yeah, Pri, you've done a fabulous job with that. We're really proud of you, and I really look forward to continuing our journey together. You will receive a gold award in April, and even continue with the program beyond April. And of course, you're always welcome to anything we do. And particularly, Pri, what I appreciate most about you is your commitment to return something to the program, that you continue to invest in others and help us build the program itself, give us feedback about it, and continuing to grow it. So thank you.
Thank you, Karen. I think it's been a wonderful journey, and I can't wait to continue.
All right. Thanks, Pri. Hi, I'm here today to welcome Abby. And Abby is one of our Innovation Fellows, and she is one of our Innovation Gold Fellows with a little bit over 500 hours. she has earned in our Innovation Fellows program. Abby has distinguished herself across our university. She's been engaged in the performing arts. She has also been engaged in a lot of sessions where we have interviewed for people for short circuits. She has been involved in business. She participates in our innovation cohorts, and we're really proud to have her as part of the team. Her specialization is collaboration and personality assessment, and she has advised me about how to approach our students in some of those areas. So Abby, would you introduce yourself, please, and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that was a fantastic introduction. Thank you. But as you said, yeah, my background is primarily in the performing arts and design and creating the teams that combine both of them and everything in between, primarily using personality types and other ensemble building techniques, I like to refer to it as. I also work full-time as a project coordinator for a design firm. So bringing in those experiences and also applying what I've learned from the Innovation Fellows back into those professional experiences as well. And I'm about to graduate from the Industrial Design Graduate Program, hopefully, if all goes well. So that's where I'm at.
That's great. So Abby, can you share a little bit about what brought you to the Fellows Program and what you found most helpful about it?
Absolutely. So first of all, I'm one of those people that always loves to learn from other people. And especially when it comes to innovation, I feel like there's so many different industries and people, and they're all doing different things. So being able to just honestly take time out to learn from them and to hear what different people are doing, as you said, both interviewing people before they do their session and also seeing the live session. I feel like I was brought in from more of the design perspective and then ended up getting more involved in the performing arts as we started to talk more and got more involved. So that's been really, really cool to have sort of both of those perspectives, especially because those are my background. So it's kind of like sitting in a room with every different branch of your life and watching them all come together, which has been incredible.
Great, great. Some of the things that you've learned, Abby, you mentioned the learning part, and I'm imagining you're talking about are probably some coaching, maybe some short circuits and flagships. Can you share about some of those things that you've done with the program that have been part of your learning journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So I will also say in design thinking, Ray, we talk about convergence and divergence. And I feel like my experience in the program has been both of those things, both converging and diverging. So from a convergence standpoint, right, I would say, well, actually, I'll go from divergence to convergence. So having all of these different perspectives and talks, like you're saying, for both the flagship Fridays, getting to listen to people, and then also the short circuits where you actually hands-on sort of participate with them and try out their learning styles. It's been super helpful in expanding how I think about innovation and how I apply that to professional, class, all of these different components. But then at the same time, working specifically with you and with the other mentors, I've been able to sort of narrow down how all of these apply to both my projects like Studio Stage, Misfit Noodle, and work. So it's kind of been a nice expansion of learning from everyone and then working one-on-one to say, okay, how do I apply this?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's fabulous, Abby. I'm really excited. You're graduating this year and on to launching your own business around personality assessment and working with teams to learn how to work together and how to collaborate. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that is Studio Stage.
Studio Stage. And Abby, if people wanted to get in touch with you, how would they do that?
Absolutely. So I have a website called studiostageinventory.com, but also obviously you can get in contact with me over email, phone. Really, if you're interested in social capital, performing arts, ensemble building, personalities, any of those interdisciplinary connections, I would love to talk more to anyone interested in those things. The way that Studio Stage works is it's sort of a 3-level or sort of like if this is an onion, it would be a 3-layer team building company where we take team building and we set it to an intentional conversation with your team at the very beginning. So going through personality as the shared language for your team, something that a lot of teams don't really talk about, and then going into ensemble building techniques from the performing arts, and then adding in that last layer of accountability and specifically using Stanislavski's method of who am I in this scene, which would be the project, and what is my relationship to anyone else. So if that sounds exciting, then again, feel free to connect.
Well, I know my experience with you has been very exciting, and I'm really grateful.
Likewise.
Yeah. I look forward to continuing with you even beyond. You're always welcome. And thanks a lot, Abby, for the influence and the impact you've also left on our program.
Thank you, Karen. I have really appreciated our conversations too, because I feel like we start our conversation talking about one thing and then just bring in, again, so many other disciplines and ideas. And it's really taken all of the projects to the next level, I feel like. So it's very exciting. Thank you.
And here's to the future.
Woo!
Bye. Today, I have the privilege of introducing Charlie Wickham. Charlie has been one of our innovation fellows, and in fact is one of our earliest innovation fellows when we launched the program this year, and someone who is engaged in innovation anywhere. And he's no stranger to innovation, that's for sure. Charlie, good to see you here. And can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. So I'm Charlie Wickham. I did my undergraduate in mechanical engineering here at Iowa State University, and I'm currently doing a master's in industrial design. I've been involved with all kinds of different student organizations and projects throughout the years. And I'm currently one of the leaders in the theme park engineering group here and the commissioner of our ride engineering competition.
Yeah, Charlie, I'm very excited about the work that you're doing because it's a large project. Part of our Innovation Fellows program requires that students go through mindset and experiences, and I know you've done some of those things, but also that they choose a big challenge. I was wondering if you might tell us a little bit about how that challenge evolved and what you did to accept that big challenge in an invitation.
Yeah, so it's been a long process that we've been working on this specific thing for about a year. So with the
okay, we can cut.
Sorry, totally blanking.
Nope, I totally get it. I yeah. Spencer will recover. All right, so okay, so let's start with that part.
Yeah.
We'll start with this part again. So Charlie, you have certainly taken advantage of our Innovation Fellows program and done a lot of really amazing things. I think you accepted a really big challenge when you came to me with the ride engineering competition. And I would really love to know how that story went, how it evolved, when you thought of it, how it happened over time, who's been engaged, because it's quite the deal right now. And if you might share even some of the details, how many people are involved, where it's headed.
Yeah, so we've been working on this ride engineering competition for close to a year now. And I've been involved with a lot of other student projects and competitions throughout my time at Iowa State and in high school with FIRST Robotics as well. So I've always believed that part of the engineering process, and certainly the critical thinking and problem solving skill, comes from that hands-on learning and that opportunity to try out your ideas and fail and learn from that failure as much as you learn from your successes. So within the themed entertainment and attractions industry, which I've more recently gotten involved with, that was something that I noticed immediately was sort of lacking. I had been working with the NASA robotic mining team here at Iowa State and various other competitions. But the students I was meeting in this industry weren't doing similar competitions and didn't have that hands-on background. And so immediately I noticed, it would be really great. I wish there was a competition that I could do that had this hands-on component. And then as a couple of years went by, I started, taking inspiration from what was there in the industry. I had gone to an event called ASTM F24, our subcommittee meeting, where they go over safety standards in the industry. And there are a lot of really cool professionals in the industry there, but I was really impressed by the students that I met there. All of these leaders and presidents of clubs around the country dedicated to theme park work. and just really awesome students that were capable of pulling off really incredible things. And so after I came back here and created our version of that kind of club, the theme park engineering group at Iowa State, my next focus was, could we do a competition? And at first it was just sort of throwing out ideas. And then when COVID-19 hit and the majority of jobs in the industry and in all kinds of guest service based industries sort of dried up overnight, that was a chance for me to, well, okay, I'm here over the summer. I'm just in Ames, locked in my apartment to stay safe. What if I use that time to develop this idea? And, maybe I won't get to participate it, but we'll be able to bring this idea to other students. And so I started taking time to, just write down some rules and see, okay, how are we going to make this a competition? What are our goals that students will get out of this program? How can we meet those? How can we encourage them to learn those things without, commanding them and you have to do it exactly this way? So allowing for them to have creativity and take it in their own direction, but then learn these things in the process. And so that was, several months of just sort of throwing ideas around of what the competition could be. And then when it came to, okay, how are we going to host this? How are we going to make it an event and build, a public audience around it to get it to reach more people? Myself and the other engineering students I was working with, that is not our area. We're not experts in that. We don't really know how to do that. And luckily we were put in contact with your office and the innovation program. And, you were nice enough to offer us the resources that we would need to grow this, that not only to hold an event, but hold something bigger than what I was originally picturing, certainly during COVID. And so finding, through then working with this huge team to develop that idea and figure out, get through all of the problems that need to be solved to get this to be a huge event that's safe for COVID-19, that's accessible to everyone that we're working with, and is just the best that it can be in our first year is just been incredible.
Yeah. And Charlie, I think you have, how many students do you have now participating in this competition worldwide?
Yeah, we have 11 teams with 94 students from around the US competing in this first year. So they've been working since October, November, and December. So they've spent 4 to 6 months working on their ride designs, along with a couple industry sponsors and a lot of assistance from other students in the industry who have collected information and brought it all together and made it accessible to these students so that they can, do real industry practices with this.
I also know, Charlie, you're one of our first Innovation Fellows candidates, and you'll be graduating this year with a Gold Innovation Fellows Award for certainly well over 700-800 hours in the program. Actually, I think it's almost over 1,000. And I know that Dennis Muhlenberg played a big part in that, and that you participated in a lot of fellows programs. Can you share a little bit about your experience with the Innovation Fellows program and how that's helped you do some of the things that you've been able to do in the last year?
Yeah, so certainly for me, this has been mostly uncharted territory. I'm used to being a more analytical, math-based engineer, as opposed to working with organizational leadership and innovation at the scale and event management and all of that. So having the opportunity to be brought into this program and talk with Dennis Muhlenberg and learn from him through his innovation circuit that he's done for us fellows, that's been a huge help to just sort of contextualize this process and learn about this aspect of the process. For me as a leader and as an innovator to, get that context around what was before just sort of making things up as we go. And so having that expertise of somebody who's been in this game for a long time and worked with a lot of different things and succeeded in places and failed in others, just having that experience to build off of has been a huge help to, be able to structure what we're doing and know what we're doing as we go through it, instead of just making things up as we go. So it's been an absolutely huge help, and I'm so happy that we found this program.
Charlie, thank you so much. And certainly you have taken advantage of every opportunity that we have, flagships, short circuits, the full circuits, and hopefully next year you're going to do a session as a young innovator for us. So we're really excited to continue to engage you in your journey. And so we're just really proud of you. And Charlie, as you go forward and you think about what you're going to take away from this program, what would be one big thing that you would think would be really significant?
I've always loved Iowa State's commitment and culture of hands-on learning. That's one of the big reasons I came to Iowa State in the first place, is that, with over 900 student organizations, most students are involved with projects and competitions outside of their classes that help contextualize everything. And this year, both in the Masters of Industrial Design, which is very, thematically aligned with this innovation circuit, and the specific parts of the innovation circuit, it's sort of given a way to, take all that experience and focus on how can you leverage that to make the most positive impact. And so that for me has been the biggest thing, is that it's given me the tools that I am confident that I will continue to be able to make a big impact on students and industries and the world as a whole, because I, understand everything that's going on and the systems that are at work. And so I can, take my ideas and leverage them to make the biggest impact possible.
That's great, Charlie. Thanks for being with us today. And I really appreciate your time, and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Hi.
Money and Ashwin, could you talk to me a little bit about, what you see as the value of the fellows program? You're both very highly involved. What has it meant for you?
Yeah, you got this, Money.
Okay. Yeah. So I think overall, like, the technical skills are important in school. And that's all we've been learning really as an aerospace engineering. Maybe it's a little different for the mechanical or civil industry. But most of the time in school, it's a focus on technical skills. However, the innovation fellowship, it's meant to show the correct mindset that's necessary for successful entrepreneurship. And obviously, where else better to learn about successful entrepreneurship other than the former Boeing CEO Dennis Muhlenberg. So.
Oh, Manny, that was good, Manny.
Good timing. Man. Great timing.
Yeah. Didn't see you joining in at all.
Yeah, Mani, I think maybe to talk about what you've been involved in, Ashwin, you too, what you've participated in thus far in the fellows program.
Yeah, so programs wise, we had specific innovation training circuits where Mr. Muhlenberg would talk to about a full class about his past experiences in Boeing, what he's working on right now, and basically molding the mindset of new innovators. Another thing is Flagship Fridays that we have, which is basically different speakers from different companies, different industries, basically all come together at different times, obviously, on different Fridays, and talk about their experiences and what they think that new innovators should learn and advice. We also get short circuits, which is basically like in my eyes, Flagship Fridays, but a little longer and not on Fridays. And some examples are like a short circuit on intellectual property, another one in innovation in aviation, Idea Lab, and business success. Another thing that was brought upon from this program was our specific private help from Mr. Dennis Molenberg, where we would get together monthly and talk about how our project is doing and how he can help us.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wonder if you might talk about your project a little bit, Manny, as well.
Yeah, so we plan, basically our project, we plan on creating a company called Jadu. And the purpose is creating a space mining infrastructure company that moves our economy from Earth to extraterrestrial areas into space. We want to take the resources in space and use them there. Right now, it takes about like $2,000 per kilogram to move anything up to space. So we want to reduce all of the payload as much as possible in all of the rockets and stuff like that. And getting materials from space and using it in space is the most effective way. And that's what we want to help improve.
Yep. And just to expand on that too, the basis of it is that, the world's population is projected to eclipse about 11 billion people by the end of the century. And so it's important that we focus on our supply of natural resources, both on Earth to sustain life here, as well as, pioneering some interplanetary and extraterrestrial settlements. So, it's important to have the resources both in space to, provide for here on Earth, as well as, again, pioneer the space economy as well.
And talk about what specific resources, because I think you're talking about two specific types of resources.
Actually, three recently. So right now we want to start off with ice because, again, with NASA and SpaceX trying to get to Mars, all of the people there need water somehow. Every person in space needs water, and getting that ice and turning it into drinkable water is very crucial. So that's the first thing that we're going to try to do, because that's basically where we find initial revenue. But then there's also regolith, and there's also regular minerals. Obviously, minerals like gold, nickel, iron, stuff like that, those could be used for more manufacturing parts within our own company, but we could also sell them to almost anyone on Earth who would want iron, any manufacturing company. But also the last one is regolith, something that is not very commonly known. It's just soil from like asteroids or a lunar surface. And that soil is used mainly for research purposes. So we can give it to NASA or other schools to continue whatever research they need to do, I guess.
Yeah. Recently, we found that the regolith itself is worth thousands of dollars. So, being able to find this on both the moon and other asteroids as well in near Earth orbit, it would be useful to see if, it could even sustain life or anything like that as well.
I'm wondering, Dennis, might you speak a little bit to your experience of working with this group and the Fellows Program?
Yeah, well, first of all, I love those three ideas you guys just shared as you're thinking your way through them. The water idea is quite brilliant. As you pointed out in your business plan, if you've got to take water from Earth to the moon or some other outpost, you've got to carry all the launch weight that's associated with that. It's very economically difficult to make that business case closed. But if you can find ice in space on an asteroid and bring it from low gravity to low gravity, that's a pretty cool solution. So I like the way you guys are thinking about it. So, hey, I guess stepping back from that, it's been a real privilege working with Money and Ashwin and the team. And one, I love their innovative spirit and the audacity of their endeavor, right? And we talked about that. One of our leadership principles around innovation is to be audacious and resilient, and these guys are both. And so I applaud them for that. And having a big idea and then putting the details together around it, how you can turn that idea into reality and just start working through the steps, I think is a process that's going to be very valuable for your life. And so just getting that experience, I'm excited to see it. And think back, guys, since we started talking about this, 6 months ago, 8 months ago, to where you are today. You can see the amount of progress that's occurred, but also the maturation of you as leaders. And that's probably the thing I'm the most excited about seeing. And, that ties back to our broader Innovation Fellows program. Is Karen, as you and I have talked about investing in leaders, investing in future innovators, and this idea of being multiple or multidimensional in our innovation space. And we've talked about this at our innovation circuit training as well. We want to help create innovators who not only have the capacity for sort of technical and product innovation, but also the capacity for culture and people and business and that entire fabric of innovation, multidimensional innovation. That's the kind of people, young leaders that are being developed through the Innovation Fellows program. So I see that as really exciting. And then I also want to credit these two young gentlemen with their influence on others. So not only are they growing as innovators and leaders, in my circuit training classes, when they're in the course with their peers, they're also leading by example. And often when I ask for people to share on innovation sprints, these two guys are at the forefront with their comments, or we talk about leadership skills and examples that we want to share. Money and Ashwin are often, among the first that are sharing the examples, and that really helps to energize and inspire the other students around them. So that's another example of being a great innovator, is being an influencer of others and creating that multiplying effect. So that's been part of my experience and why I enjoy working with these two guys and their team.
So David, Dennis leads what we call a full circuit. Full circuits are typically 3 to 6 sessions. It could be 6 months or 6 weeks. He took probably about 30 to 60 students at various times. And his job is to lead them over a period of 6 months. He meets every month for 2 hours with 2 different sessions. To take them through a series of innovation mindset, education sessions, as well as awareness sessions, and then also skill application. So he'll have them do design sprints and assignments to expand not just the way they think, but also the way they practice. So he set up a series of challenges for them to do that. And in addition, Dennis is coaching many of these students independently, some student teams as well as individual students. He contributes to them in many significant ways. Do you have any questions for Dennis, David?
Sure. Dennis, you mentioned that this is a skill that'll be valuable, throughout your life. At the outset, when you were kind of describing what you see as the impact of the Innovation Fellows program, can you talk a little bit about that? How do you see that kind of expanding into, these students' lives, no matter where they take them, the skills that you would learn in a Fellows program?
Yeah, David, one of the things we do with our circuit training sessions is each session we talk about a leadership framework, sort of viewed through the eyes of innovation, but a broader leadership framework that I've shared with the team. I call it the bring your A game leadership framework. So it has seven elements to it that span leadership, things like acting with courage and passion, amplifying the team. And if useful, I can go through all seven of those, but each of those 7 areas is focused on a leadership skill that creates a multiplying effect. So it's important for leadership and innovation in all of its dimensions, as we talked about. But I think they're broader life lessons about how to lead and how to handle the challenges that are going to occur throughout life. And we talk about being resilient, learning from failure is an important dimension of that. We talk about the importance of investing in people, that the most important investment we can make as leaders is to invest in people. We talk about the importance of integrity and excellence in how we do our work, and how that should exude through our leadership traits. So I'm hopeful that leadership training, coupled with the dimension of innovation, those are lessons and skills and characteristics that can apply more broadly through life. And it could be in how they start up a business. It could be in how they influence those around them. It could be on how they invest in their communities or give back to the people around them. So I'm hopeful that we're creating or helping to build leadership capacity that's going to be beneficial in many ways in terms of lifelong learning.
Okay. Are Money and Ashwin one of the teams that you've been coaching, outside of the short circuit training, Dennis?
Yeah. They've both participated in my circuit training course, and then separately, we've had a number of sessions talking about their space mining business. So
okay,
we've got a few hangout sessions in the Innovation Center where we popcorn around ideas, and Money and Ashwin are there along with 3 or 4 of their teammates. And we spend time talking about their business and ideas, and then occasionally, if I can open a door or connect them with somebody, another resource, my goal is to help open doors, create resources for them, connect the dots, and help them be successful.
Can you give me an example of kind of an issue you work through with them? And Money or Ashwin, you could step in and provide one either, just to kind of illustrate the kind of a concrete detail from that coaching relationship.
I think one key element that comes to mind for me is defining the business plan. So when we started out, the big idea was space mining, and we want to go create a business in space mining. So we spent some time thinking about, well, what does that mean? What's the objective? How would we measure success? How do you narrow it down to a specific endeavor that could be executable? And then what would be the resources and the schedule and potential collaborative partners that you would need to reach the outcomes of that endeavor, and then build that into a business plan and hone that business plan. And the document that they've now produced does exactly that. So it was great to see a sort of a big idea coalesce into an executable business plan. Was still, still a bit of work to go, but
for sure.
But I have no doubt, and that's one of my follow-ups. And this is for Ashwin or Money. Money. I'm sorry, I had it in my mind that your name was Money, and now I keep calling you Money, and
that's totally fine. Don't worry about it.
Just think about all the money he's going to make.
Yes, that's the the image I should put in my head to correct myself. But if one of you guys wants to talk to kind of when I heard you describe the idea, it's obviously very a compelling outcome. But I imagine there's kind of a specific more narrow area that you're working on development wise. I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about that.
Monty, do you have a simulation there? You have an AutoCAD simulation?
Yeah, I actually have it pulled up. There's a few more parts that I could pull up, but for now, I'll just pull this up. Let me
And
share my screen.
Spencer, I am recording, if that is helpful, just because I realize we're trying to capture some of this for our fellows program.
So
Great.
again, just to reiterate a little bit about what Mr. Merlenberg said, when we first started, it was kind of just like a ragtag team of individuals who had like this idea of like what we wanted to do. We just wanted to like, we wanted to create a company basically that could have space mining, but we didn't know where to start. We didn't know what to do really. And that's where Mr. Mullenberg came in. He like showed us like the first few steps on where to go. We need values, we need business model, we need what we need, like the technical aspect. So that's basically what he guided us with. And then we took that advice and then we went and made this plan or proposal of like what we want to do. We have this, first we have a concept for a drill. We have a concept for an attachment system. And this is just one of the pieces that in our AutoCAD, and this is like the main drill part. And right now it looks very simplistic, but once we attach it to the main body and the attachment system, it's going to look a lot cooler. But there's a few more, but before we get into that, basically what we have right now is our attachment system is basically like leg type machines that shoot harpoons. And once the harpoon gets attached into an asteroid, it basically pulls it in and secures the asteroid. And by dislodging the harpoon and moving from one place to the next, we can move from one part of the asteroid to another part that has more concentration or less concentration of ice or whatever material we need. And then the drill specifically, this is the main part of the drill, as you can see. And it's going to have some plates or jaw-like structure around it. And it's going to act inspired by a drill saw. Is that what it's called, Ashwin? I forgot.
Hole saw. Yep, a hole saw.
Hole saw. If you've seen one of that, it basically has a drill in the middle and then serrated blades on the outside. It has like a plate blade basically, and it's going to dig in as this drill goes into the asteroid and scoop up and throw the debris or regolith into the storage area. It's a little hard to explain, but so this is one of them. Another one is I'll show the leg as assembly. Sorry, don't know why that's doing that. And then,
yeah, and to kind of tag along with Mani's saying as well, this is kind of what's helped us differentiate ourselves from any potential other competitors, is just our technicality, as well as our as we've learned, our ability to kind of have an innovative mindset and develop our team culture. This is kind of what we're kind of striving to do, in the startup phase of our company. So we want to really differentiate ourselves and really cultivate our team values, as well as, again, develop our technical capabilities in our system being, our main, technical secret weapon, if you will.
One of the things that we've been having conversations about with Mani and Ashwin a little bit is their value proposition and what that looks like and how they distinguish themselves from other companies in this field that are also beginning to evaluate and research what it means to do ice mining and mineral mining. So they're working on their differentiation statement, and then what's next for them, whether that's an accelerator or looking at individual investors or connecting them with an aviation portal and people who are in this field who are previous alumni.
Okay, so very broadly, you're working on the challenge of when you get to the surface of where you are in space,
yes.
And how that mechanism works. So I imagine there's, an an efficiency concern and a weight concern and those sorts of things in designing the mechanisms that you're designing, right?
Yeah, so the way I see it, it's almost like working from the end to the beginning, where we're assuming we're already on the asteroid, and we're going to start drilling, moving from there, storing from there. And once we have that, we're going to move backwards to how are we going to get to that asteroid, the propulsion necessary to get from the space station, wherever we are, the Gateway Space Station or the International Space Station, to the asteroid. How are we going to get there? That propulsion system. And then after we figure that out, moving backwards to what asteroid we need to figure out to mine, how are we going to get our drone into space and things like that. The reason we chose to move backwards because a few of the main like beginning steps are already kind of provided for us. If we prove that we have a working prototype for mining an asteroid or something like that, then we can come up with a partnership with something like NASA or SpaceX, Blue Origin or something like that, and hitch a ride with them to go to International Space Station. So we basically have Earth to space covered from there. So that's why we're moving a little backwards from the actual mission phase to getting there.
Sure, that makes sense.
Money, this is a great example of how you've developed that business plan with some thought about executability. So, originally the idea was we're going to have to launch and the capital associated with a launch, and then how you're going to make the transport work. And now the idea of doing a ride share on a rocket, which is a rapidly evolving commercial business model that's very viable, getting some real estate at the International Space Station, which again has become a very viable commercial option. You've taken out two of the biggest capital hurdles in your journey, and now you can concentrate on going from International Space Station to asteroid. So your thought process here is fantastic. You've probably knocked out about 90% of the capital cost through partnerships, and now you can focus on the value-added end of the innovation. So it's a great example of innovation thinking and how do you create a credible business starting with a big idea.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and to add to that as well, the space economy is really taking off, if you will, pun intended. But in the past 30 years, the cost to fly to space has actually reduced about 23-fold to about 2,000 to 8,000 per kilogram. So if we can make a weight efficient, cost efficient technical solution, again, the space economy is only getting cheaper to launch to. So hopefully we can provide that technical solution, and then as Dennis said, the rideshare model is a very viable option to provide solutions in space. So that is again our business model, and again the cost is rapidly reducing. So there's plenty of opportunity to kind of pioneer that extraterrestrial economy.
Yeah. Another thing that I just wanted to mention, a little side note, is from our CAD models, you can see that it's just a few like individual parts that we have, but recently for the past month-ish and moving forward for the next few months, what we've been doing is every Saturday, once a weekend, we're getting together and having like 2 to 3 hours sessions of just working on SolidWorks and CAD models. So hopefully by the end of the semester, we'll have a working assembly of both the drilling mechanism and the attachment mechanism.
How large is your team, Mike?
Right now, it's about 4 to 5 people, 4 people, and we're looking for recruitment right now also.
Okay. All aerospace engineers, or do you have kind of a diversity?
No, it's a little diversity. So I'm aerospace, and another one of our team members, Tom Dunn, is aerospace, but Ashwin is mechanical, and another one is Hannah Shin. She is actually working at a different in a different college, and she's a design a graphic design major. So she kind of like helps with like the design, like the logos and stuff like that. And then there's Sandeep Stanley, who helps us with the business side also, where he helps with like writing essays, formatting, making sure everything is worded correctly.
Sandeep is also another one of our fellows.
Yeah.
And Ashwin also has a minor in engineering sales.
Yeah.
And so, which I think is really insightful of the team to really look at. And I know it's one of the things that Dennis promotes highly is diversity as a critical component, looking at diversity of thought, diversity of experience, diversity of skills. And so Sandeep is very well spoken, interested in communication. And I know Ashwin has spoken to me quite a bit about sales and how to position, do the strategic planning, develop the business plan and the value proposition.
Yeah. Thanks, Karen. Thanks for speaking on that. And, oh, sorry, Dennis, did you want to say something?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, you know, we love to talk about the space mining possibility, obviously, but we are taking that initiative in trying to branch out the team's diversity and values and technical skills with our, again, my sales minor, Money is taking some SolidWorks classes now to kind of cultivate that technical capability. And then again, Deep and our other team members are also taking some initiative in their coursework, as well as, you know, learning outside of class to really, you know, develop our skills before we do provide that technical solution, so that we can really hone down and get this right, you know, on the first try, so that, you know, we can definitely have that diversity of team skills and values built off of each other's strengths, as well as have that diversity of strengths as well. So we're excited to do something like this, and we're showing that initiative too.
That's well said, and it ties back to what we talked about again early on about having a values framework that wraps around your overall project, and your point here on the importance of diversity of your team in all of its dimensions and how that makes for a stronger team. That values framework again comes through and shows itself in the success of the business effort. So proud of you guys for doing that.
Thank you.
What is the next step, guys? Karen mentioned this, that you've been talking about it. I mean, do you think you are, you know, ready for some sort of development program? You know, you put in another year or so before, you know, a lot of times, you know, that might be a summer program, you know, at this stage for you guys and still being in school. But tell me what you see as the future in the near term for the company.
Yeah, so that's a good question. So right now, what we have to do is basically do a technical proposal, make sure the SolidWorks model is finished, and then we're going to meet with Karen of every few weekends and stuff like that to make sure that we have all the business side of it complete. Once we graduate, we won't have much access to the labs, so we have to make sure that we utilize and make a few of experiments. An iteration of testing basically should be done by the time we graduate at some of the labs that I assume. But however, once we graduate, we're going to have a lot more time since we're not in school anymore. So we're going to focus a lot of our time in everyday time put into the same proposals, the same experimentation, getting that SolidWorks done. We'll just be able to multiply our workload and productivity after we graduate. Karen mentioned that even though we have graduated, they'd still the fellows program would still like to be involved with us. So it's not like we're going to lose much of this connection, this communication between the fellows program and this company that we're working on. So that's the
graduating this spring, right? I mean,
we're all graduating this spring.
The whole team.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's kind of a little liability that all of us are seniors and we're all graduating. However, I think it is a good thing because as seniors we have the technical experience to make sure that we know what we're doing. Some might argue that junior year or sophomore year are like really tough academically. So people who, if we have team members in sophomore or junior, it might put too much stress on them. So it's not that we're not like against putting some people on. It's just they might have trouble. So,
yeah, and just sorry, go ahead, Karen.
Go ahead, Ashwin.
I was just going to add to that. Yeah, while we are graduating in May, we are still looking to grow the team and look to recruit certain aspects and other areas such as more business focused, strategic and electrical and computer technology focused. So again, we are looking to grow the team as we do develop these hurdles and again, focusing on that team culture and team values is very important to us. So we are hoping to grow the team, both, diversity of age as well as diversity of values as well. So hopefully we do have some connections to stay back at ISU, but that is our near-term goals as well.
And I guess
David,
my
what
question
we're going to
is,
do also I've told the team that we will continue to come alongside them. We're happy to continue to meet with them and also connect them with future fellows who could connect to these young alums and continue to help make that link with their like a satellite, pun intended, for their team, right? And my goal in continuing to work with them is to work alongside Dennis and help them develop that value proposition that will better pitch them with investors, potentially to allow them to attach to an accelerator, draw in people who could come alongside them, potentially have them partner in specific components of other projects and other organizations, and set them up with other advisors and alums within our program.
but certainly the hope is to be working on this, as your kind of your primary job after you graduate. That's what you two guys are doing, or I mean, is it going to need to stay kind of on the side or undetermined?
So right now, it's since we don't have really revenue, we need to make sure that we get money and income somehow. So having a job after graduation would be ideal. Ashwin actually does have a job lined up, but until we have a job lined up, the rest of the team, it's just, this is the primary goal. And even while in the job, I guess, we want to continue working on this as like we are right now in school. We're working on it alongside our academics, our extracurriculars and stuff like that.
Yeah, and again, with a job as well, is we really want to be able to have, obviously the revenue money said, but really learning how to kind of develop in a, the culture in a working environment. So learning about my job is going to be at Boeing. So having that connection to Boeing, as well as learning the flight test engineering skills that I'll be learning, will be instrumental for sure to bring back to Jadu once we do graduate, once I do have that work experience as well.
And I think, David, that the critical component, go ahead.
A better combination than doing that along with working at Boeing, Ashwin. That's
at Edwards Air Force Base too. So a really awesome place that things take off from.
That's going to be exciting, very exciting. And David, to Karen's broader point about the Innovation Fellows Program, helping connect these student teams to downstream opportunities, getting them into accelerators, potentially ultimately access to venture capital funding, helping them find the right business partners. Those are all seeds that we're planting and dots that we're trying to connect as we help these fellows in sort of their longer term pursuits.
Acceleration is a critical component. And one thing that might be worth noting is Mani is part of the reason why I started this program. He was the one initially that said the quote, "I know where to get technical expertise. Iowa State is great at that. I need to learn how to behave and how to think." And that was Mani who started me saying, how are we going to do that? And I keep telling him he was the inspiration. He was the student inspiration for this program. And that was back in July of 2020. And so I am very grateful to him. If you think of us long-term, that word acceleration is really important, David. And in order to help accelerate, that means connecting them early with people who can influence how they think and how they begin to position themselves for when they graduate. And then as they have to write their value proposal and their technical proposal, then we can position them in front of things like accelerators and incubators and things like the alum we have in the field, people like Bill Gross who came to speak. Part of our flagship recruitment effort is to bring in those stakeholders and build relationships with them so that when people like Ashwin Anmani and his team are ready, we already have a relationship with people who can help them.
Hey, Karen, I'm going to have to jump to a investor meeting. Sorry.
No,
But,
thank you.
hey, David, it's good talking with you. And Money, Ashwin, you guys are awesome. So keep running fast. I'm really proud of you.
Yeah, we
Thank you.
appreciate it, Dennis. Thank you.
Hi, Dennis.
Yeah.
David, can we answer any more questions for you?
Well, I would just ask Money, what do you think about, Karen's mentioned this, that she's said this to you many times, being kind of the inspiration for the program. And did it accomplish what you were asking for? Did it help you learn how to behave and learn how to think in a way that, would help you accomplish your dreams?
Overall, I'm very honored. First, I'll say that every time she mentions that, I feel like a sense of motivation, because it's not just me working anymore, like me looking into my future. There are people who invested time into me. There are people who thought I was worth this experience. So I always see that as a motivation factor to keep me from quitting or saying this is too much work, I don't want to do this. So it just always motivates me. It's the fellows program itself has all been above my expectations. It's I get emails from Karen all the time about new opportunities and meeting new people. So it's everything that you can expect and more.
Very cool. I think I have what I need as far as I know, unless anybody else wants to add something. I think I'm good. This was really helpful. It was really great to hear you guys talk about your work. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you.
I was just gonna say that in our senior year at Iowa State, we really wanted to get the most out of our experience here, and this is a great way. The Innovation Fellows Program, the training circuits, has been a really instrumental way to cap it off. As we've been touching on a lot, we have the technical skills, but I just think it's so important for engineers to kind of learn about the mindset and innovation skills as well. And innovation doesn't have to be just in engineering; it has to be in process, civic innovation, process innovation, service innovation. So there's so many things to take away, and I just only wish we had more time to be in this program. But again, it's for the better, and we will keep in touch so that we will try to still develop and grow our mindsets. And again, yeah, it's been, as Money said, everything we could hope for and more.
Very cool. Best of luck.
Yep.
Thank you.
Stuff.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Karen.